The lineup then. Look at that, 4 different makes of bikes spread across the front row of the grid. Vermeulen, Honda, Tosland, Ducati, Corsa, Suzuki, Noriyuki Haga, Yamaha. Who's going to be the winner this time? I wonder who the darling daughters of the Fogarty household have put their money on this time. I suspect it might be Vermeulen. Can he do the double here at Assen? We'll find out in the next 16 laps.
Clean start.
Straight away a clean start for Corsa. Once again gets a superb dragster start off the line. And let's see if Fogarty's FP1 guys don't get lashed up too much in the opening section, which is their
and
weak
he's up
one.
there. One of them's up there.
Martin's made a terrific start. They're right together. Corsa's come McCoy's come right through as well. A good start for Lorenzo Lanzi. Noriyuki Haga's the man at the front. It's a Yamaha Italia 1-2. Pitts there as well. How on earth did they manage to book Corsa, who's been pushed back to 4th place because in 3rd is his teammate, Lightning Yukio Kageyama, who's obviously decided he's got to defend that 4th place in the championship.
Tosland through to 4th. No, 5th.
He got underneath Chris Vermeulen there as they keeled through the 2nd turn there, the right-hander. And then they curve their way through the Ritter's Dyke down to Magic, this long banked right-hander. What a great course this is. Round the long left at Distruben. Look at that. The Tosland desperately trying to get underneath Troy Corsa. Can't quite manage to find it, but I think he's going to set him up at the end of what passes whimsically for a back straight. Into that new chicane. Terrific start by Pitts. He told me that after he didn't qualify. Oh, look at Tosland.
Right. You were dead right, Jack.
He lined him up and he stuck him right through there. Great move by James Tosland on the Xerox Ducati. There is the offensive Randa Goldberg on the Ritzler Suzuki.
The offensive.
Sorry, offending was the word I was looking for. And Haga, Pitt.
Haga,
Kageyama.
Pitt, Kageyama, Tosland, then Corsa, then Vermeulen, then Mugridge.
So Mugridge once again has got himself in a position where he might have to burn out his tyres too much if he's not too careful, but they've also softened up the settings on his bike because they contribute slightly too harder settings contributed to wearing out the tyres. Talking about worn tyres, apparently Chris Vermeulen's front tyre was pretty much shredded, fried and baked to nothing by the end of that first race.
Yeah, but they said they'd had problems.
Here comes Tosland. Great move by Tosland. He goes underneath Kageyama. He doesn't want to let those Yamaha Italia bikes out of his sight, James.
No, particularly they don't want to let Haga out of his sight. Haga is a man who could go and win from the front.
Vermeulen's just ahead, or just behind. Just ahead, I was going to say, of Troy Corsa, and he stays. Ooh, Kageyama went in really tight and deep into turn 1. Unfortunately, Tosland had just got out of his way in time. Behind these guys, we've got Noy Kirchner in 8th. 9th is Ben Bostrom. At last, the B-Boss gets a decent start and launches himself through on the Team Koji Renegade British-based Honda into 9th place, ahead of Lorenzo Lanzi, Steve Martin and Gary McCoy running together. And Carl Fogarty was saying that Gary McCoy has finally found himself a good setup after struggling all weekend, but unfortunately, of course, he's starting from way back on the grid, but he has at least got a decent catapulting start into 12th. So the Foggy Petronas bikes 11th and 12th, they're running together. Look at this is Tosland.
One thing about Tosland, when he does make a move, it's clean.
41 Haga, 88 Pitt. Number 1, James Tosland. Number 71 is Yukio Kageyama. And once again, Chris Vermeulen has been... And Chris Vermeulen is back
Here
behind
goes.
Carl Mugridge.
Oh, Tosland having a go. Tosland's got the bit right between his teeth at this point.
Vermeulen must have made a mistake. He's back behind his teammate Carl Mugridge. So the two Aussies are actually lying 6th and 7th. And that's not where the first race winner wants to be.
Tosland trying everything now to get past Pitt, and he needs to get past Pitt. I think Tosland could just put some distance into these boys.
Laurie Haga desperately trying to howl a break in between himself and Andrew Pitt. Ooh, and James Tosland look round the outside of Andrew Pitt's.
He's going to be looking at the inside
there.
now.
He is. Pitty does his best to move across and block the Ducati, but he can't.
Easy.
Lovely move there.
Tosland is so good on the brakes into both chicanes.
The reigning World Superbike champion moving across on the 2001 World Super Sports champion to great effect. Now ahead of him is the former All-Japan Superbike champ, Noriyuki Haga. The lovable 30-year-old Haga.
Is he still only 30, Haga?
He is, yeah. Well, he was
Been around a long time.
He has. He was when he was first. He was only 23 when he scored that infamous double victory at Donington Park in '98
on the R7.
That made him an instant cult hero in the UK. Here he is in the lead, and look at the way the Suzukis are ganging up now on that man, Andrew Pitt.
Mugridge still in 5th and Vermeulen still in 6th. No, 6th and 7th
Andrew
actually.
Pitt, number 88, the 29-year-old. Originally from Kempsey, Australia, now of course resident in the Isle of Man, down at Port Erin on the south side of the Isle of Man when he's not enjoying his home in Tuscany. He certainly wasn't enjoying being mugged by James Toseland right there, but Tose it is who moves through into 2nd place. So Yamaha Italia 1-3, Ducati 2, and 4 and 5 for Alstara Corona Suzuki. Surely what's worrying at this point, James, for Chris Vermeulen is the gap that he's dropped. Although he's got past Carl Mugridge, number 31 now, he's got an awful long gap ahead of him to sort out. Yeah,
and he's got a lot of riders to pass as well if he's going to get away at the front. Also, like we're saying, tyres, if he's got to get away and try and catch somebody and run some really quick laps, his tyres only just lasted in the first race. In fact, his front one, he's sort of completely shot.
The most successful man here at Assen on track at the moment. His nightmare continues. Pier Francesco Chili, the 40-year-old Italian on the Team Claffey Honda, is back down in 20th place. And that's his teammate Max Neukirchner ahead of Lorenzo Lanzi. But look at this! Oh, Toseland beats his way round the outside of Hager. He was not going to be resisted. Norrie did his best to stay right. And he couldn't snare him, James.
Yep, and the lap before...
Look at Corsa! Corsa just bounds around the outside through into 3rd place. Sorry, James.
Can I talk now?
Yes,
you can. Are you going to shout at me?
You can.
What happened there?
And that looked like a big mistake from Kageyama.
And Corsa. I think Kageyama kicked it off and Corsa got caught up in it.
That was just as Corsa had leapfrogged his way through to 3rd place, and suddenly he's been dumped. And in fact, Vermeulen's taken huge advantage of that mistake. And look, he's right there now in 4th place.
He's going to have to move now if he's going to do anything about Toseland.
And Toseland is going to get nagged by Hager. You can see it. It's happening. And of course, if that happens, that will slow the two of them down, James.
Exactly. I think if Hager should be thinking about this and thinking, right, we're pulling away, we need to keep pulling away.
Look at this. Oh.
Perfect though. He's so good into that chicane.
He kind of stung Norrie into moving over. Brilliant. Andrew Pitt still there in 3rd place. In fact, we've got 2 of the ex-World Super Sports champions for 2001. Andrew Pitt for Kawasaki, 2003. Chris Vermeulen for Honda, and nailed together in 3rd and 4th places. Carl Mugridge has dropped back a bit into the potential clutches of Neukirchner and Lorenzo Lanzi on that very swift NCR Ferrari Ducati. Just that man Vermeulen, what an immaculate riding style.
He is, yeah, it's a super smooth. You never see him make a mistake. He's just so smooth and looks like he's on top of the job. But he's going to get moving if he's going to catch Toseland. Toseland He's right up for this one.
Toseland set the fastest lap of the race with a 2 minutes 5.142 on his last lap.
Yep, and that is Vermeulen now through into 3rd.
So Vermeulen gets the 3rd place that he needs to get a bit of clear track ahead of him, but here comes Hager around the outside into turn 1. Oh, he's got
it stopped.
What a move. And Hager set a 2 minutes 5.13 against Toseland's 2 minutes 5.14 on that last lap.
And Hager smoking up out of turn 1, the back end spinning and smoking.
That's what we want to see, Norrie.
Hager's a proper racer. He's not so much bothered about putting times in practice. He just likes to get to the race and he likes racing with people. It's perfect for him, this.
Frankie Killy moves past Jürgen van der Goorberg into 17th place. And Giovanni Bussai's 100th. He becomes the 30th rider to ride 100 World Superbike races. He's in 20th place, somewhat disappointingly for Kawasaki Bertocchi. Oh, and Vermeulen, the rear end just let going on a moment there on the long left-hander to Strummen. And then down the back straight, Norrie Hager still has the lead. Chris Vermeulen is there in third place. Behind him, we've got Troy Corser and Carl Muggeridge. Andrew Pitt's in there as well.
We need to wait to the end of this lap just to see what Vermeulen's doing now. He's got a little bit of clear track in front of him.
That's going to be the crucial one. Can he make it count?
It looks like he can to me. It looks like he's dragging some time back already.
This
is Vermeulen's slide. Yeah, but do you see how it chopped at the end? That's sliding out. That's just at the point of high-siding him. And if he'd have shut the throttle completely, which his dirt track experience would tell him not to do, he would have definitely been high-sided at that point.
That fantastic childhood spent on the oil-slick dirt tracks of his native Australia held him in good stead there.
Yeah.
Andrew Pitt having an absolutely boiling race in fourth place here for the Yamaha Italia squad. As they snake across the line now into lap 5, and that was a 2 minutes 4.9. The first man under 2 minutes 5 seconds again in this race is number 77 Chris Vermeulen, as Andrew Pitt staves off number 11 Troy Corser. So Haga 2 minutes 5.4, Toseland 2 5.7, and Vermeulen dangerously 2 minutes 4.9. And Pitt set his fastest lap of the race on that lap with a 2 5.58.
And here comes Vermeulen. He's pulled half a second back on him just in that one lap, and it looks like, it really does like he's in control to me.
Kageyama's now 5.5 seconds behind the leader and has lost contact with this front 5 that is tailed by his teammate. In fact, he's only just ahead of Muggeridge, Neukirchner, Lanzi, and those 4 now are glued together in a battle for 6th place. Andrew Pitt refusing to allow Troy Corser to get the better of him into turn 1. Now flashing through towards the new chicane, that's through Wienschlang up to the Ruskenhoek. That's the one that has now become. I speak Dutch, you know.
I can tell.
And then a quick blast up to the Steckenval, which is the right-hander.
Ruskenhoek? No, Steckenval, that's right. Oh, yes.
Oh, I've got it right.
Yes.
And then you've got this lovely wave through to the De Bolt. This is the tight left-hander at De Bolt. You can see why I don't bother with these normally. And then a quick burst up to the double apex of Mandeveen and Dulkersloot.
Oh, I like that one.
There's Dulkersloot. Great style from Andrew Pitt through there. And then the fabulous right-hander at Mervenmeer. And then through Hogheide. Oh, and look at these two. Here comes Toseland around the outside of the Ramshock. What a move by Toseland. He gets emphatically back into the lead. The first 3 absolutely theatrically poised together as they descend into the chicane at the end of lap 6 out of 16. Beautiful riding from the 24-year-old reigning world champion Xerox Ducati. That is the 23-year-old who wants to become the next world Superbike champion, at least next year anyway. Chris Vermeulen in third place, and once again Andrew Pitt has the speed, James, significantly to block off any move by Troy Corser.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the speed on the Yamaha. They've had a lot of problems with the bike this year, mostly niggly handling problems and getting perfect setup and having to alter the setup every circuit instead of having a base setting that they're fairly happy with. But there's nothing wrong with the speed of that Yamaha Motor Italy Yamaha.
Nothing wrong with the layout of this circuit either. Please,
no,
can we write in a petition, or we could plead with the organisers tonight, couldn't we, here to please don't interfere with it, just leave it as it is. And once again, Toseland, he's so quick on the last third of this track, but Haga seems to be able to get the better of him on the other 2/3, James.
Yeah, Haga's just super brave on some of it. Some of the corners that just run one into another. Haga's just got a beautiful line. But into both chicanes and all the braking areas, Toseland is the man.
And Toseland needs to be. At the moment, he's in the lead, but he's got the menacing figure of Chris Vermeulen, first race winner, who beat him, of course, last year as well in the second race, after they'd had 2 absolute humdingers. Well, they here are involved in another one, but this time to spice it up as if it needed it, they've got Nori Haga in there. Yukio Kageyama still leading the chasing bunch in 6th place. Toseland, former youth trials champion, of course. He won East Midlands, Southeast and Northwest Centre. Someone was asleep on the
That's one of Haga's kids having a little nap in the Yamaha Motor Italy garage.
That's a good thing to do when your dad's doing this. Oh, and Haga goes to the front again. Where did he pull that one from? Nori Haga gets to the front.
Not for long. Toseland back.
Swiftly retaliates.
Oh, Toseland off the side of the bike there. Lost the front going around the right hand of the chicane. Just saved it. It's cost him 2 places.
And that's just what he didn't need, because that means he's got Chris Vermeulen ahead of him. The very place that he didn't want him, Chris Vermeulen is ahead of him. So Toseland now back in 3rd place. Norrie Haga, the 2 blue bikes now head to head. The Yamaha of Haga.
And Toseland sliding. I'm sure Toseland trying very hard now.
James knows that this is a critical point in the race. He's got to hang in with these 2 guys.
Yeah, there's no way if Vermeulen gets away, Toseland will be able to catch up with him. He has to stay with him at this point.
Now that all these bikes are 1000cc, James, just what sort of a disadvantage could that be? Look at that man Vermeulen happily snaking round these turns, blacklining them everywhere, and that's just absolutely the way the guy rides. And Toseland hanging on in 3rd place. The yellow flag is waving, and we've just wondered if someone's been down at that chicane as Chris Vermeulen makes his move. Vermeulen goes inside Norrie Haga, and there was nothing that Norrie could do about that. Can he retaliate? He has to retaliate fast. He comes up alongside, and he tries to get inside going into the sharp left-hander at De Boult, but it's not possible. That's at least given James Toseland the chance to close up, but Toseland can't let him go at the front. I was asking you, James, what the 1000cc V-twin against the 1000cc 4s, they've put up a pretty brave resistance this year.
Yeah, I mean, technically, they're the same weight now on the same CC, whereas always Ducati had a CC advantage. The 4s had to be 750 when the twins could be up to 1000, and here's Toseland. He's so good in there.
No drawback on the brakes then.
No, they're just as good on the brakes or better. He would say, oh, and that's Haga snaking around all the way out onto the start and finish. But yeah, the V-twin traditionally should have a little bit more mid-range and bottom end and good connection between the throttle and the back wheel, easy to ride out the corners. That's Haga smoking the back. That is not going to make his rear Pirelli last very long at all.
Yeah, but we love it, James, we love it.
Yeah, and he does as well.
Look at the way that Vermeulen has gapped them so quickly. As they had that little set 2 between themselves. Chris Vermeulen, his last lap was a 2 minutes 5.4 against 5.5 Toseland, 5.8 for Haga. 5.9 Pitt, 5.8 Corsa.
And here's Haga to Toseland. Toseland just does not need this. If he's got any chance of catching Vermeulen at all, he doesn't need Haga snapping around him.
And once again through De Boult, to Strubben rather, he manages to keep just to stay ahead as Haga tries to do another of those outrageous round the outside moves. Mauro Sanchini on the surviving PSG1 Kawasaki is out of the race. Killy making outrageous progress. He's up to 13th place and lapping at the same rate as Kageyama in traffic. He's just got the better of Gary McCoy, so he's split the Petronas FP1 guys right now. Martin ahead of him in 12th place. So 6th is Kageyama, 7th is Lanzi. There's that crew in the background. This is it. Oh, I thought we were going to see it then. Kageyama, Lanzi, Muggeridge, Neukirchner locked together for 6th to 9th places ahead of Norik Abe and Ben Bostrom. Amazing, the B-boss who's been sunning himself in Marbella simply because he wasn't capable of anything else after the massive crash at Silverstone.
And good to see Bostrom having at least something like a decent ride.
Especially in that condition, 12 pounds lighter and looking extremely gaunt. But the likeable 30-year-old Northern California trying to get himself some decent points here, so are these two. But the man who's really heading for a bagload of points at the moment is Chris Vermeulen on the 10 Karte Honda. He flashes across the line and 2 minutes 5.1. That means he's lapped 7 tenths quicker than Toseland and Haga in their battle for second place. That rasping noise of the Ducati wasn't enough then, because Norrie's got back into second. So lap 9 out of 16.
These races go so quick when there's some action going on. Before you know it, it's 3/4 over.
There's Killy now ahead of Gary McCoy by a half a second as they cross the line. Vermeulen at the front, and Haga now has just broken away slightly there from the Xerox Ducati. So Nori Haga into second place. That is the Ducati camp.
They never look happy, them boys.
No, they don't, do they? Is it the Italian way? Although your Yamaha Belgarda squad often used to look very happy.
They weren't happy with me on numerous occasions.
I know.
On others they were, though.
We remember both of those times, James. At the front of this one, Chris Vermeulen is really scorching once again on the Winston 10 Carter Honda. And behind him, he's got, the world champion-elect, number 11, Troy Corser. Chris Vermeulen, of course, as we look back now at Andrew Pitt and his battle with Troy Corser. Vermeulen originally, his mentor originally was a certain Barry Sheen, who worked for television companies over in Australia, and was really impressed with the kid when he first saw him, because it wasn't until 1998 when Chris did 3 rounds of the Australian 250cc Grand Prix Championship and rode some 600 Supersports that he was first seen on tarmac.
Yeah, and he came over to England, rode the British Championship under Mick Grant on Hondas, I believe, Sanyo Hondas. Mick was always really impressed with him, and even at, I think about 16 or 17 when he first rode for Mick, he always said, yeah, the lad's going a long way, he's got everything it takes, he's clever, he knows how to set a bike up, and he wants to do it, and that's Mick always spoke highly of him.
One interesting thing that's often been the case as we watch the battle between number 88 Andrew Pitt and number 11 Troy Corser, one thing that has often been the case, James, in World Superbikes with Honda riders is that once the Suzuka 8 hours is out of their way, their results improve. It used to happen with Colin Edwards as well.
No, that is because a lot of what you don't realise is you think this is a premier championship in the world with Superbikes for Honda. It probably isn't. The Suzuka 8 Hour is an immensely important race for the factories, particularly the Honda. It's their home circuit. It's their own circuit, actually. And basically, a lot of the trick factory parts that they use for Suzuka 8 Hour then filtered down after that race is done to the World Championship teams.
And also, of course, it meant that Chris Vermeulen didn't have to keep hopping off to Japan to test and test and test again.
That's right. Well, we know how impressed Chris Vermeulen was with the factory bike he rode at the Suzuka 8 Hour, and maybe some of those parts that made that bike so good and impressive for him are now on the bike he's on now.
They're not, however, stopping the gap between himself and Nori Haga shrinking at this moment in time as Troy Corser carries on his battle with number 88 Andrew Pitt for 4th place. At the front, Vermeulen still leads, but I've got a feeling that Nori Haga is just beginning to haul him in a bit as they come round to the conclusion of this lap. We'll see what the gap is at the front. And meantime, getting away a bit now, number 57 Lorenzo Lanzi is getting the better of Carl Mugridge, Max Neukirch now having a great battle. Young dudes on Hondas, the 10 Karte Honda and the Team Claffey Honda of the impressive 22-year-old German. Across the line has the Alstara Corona, the Suzuki, finally got the better of Pitt. Can Pitty do anything on the brakes as he goes into turn 1? No, he can't.
I don't know why we're spending so much time with
Nori Haga actually did a 2 minutes 5.2. He was quicker by a tenth and a half of a second than Chris Vermeulen on that lap.
Yep. I don't know why we're seeing Pitt and Corser battling. It's no better than the battle we've got up front.
Corser's really drifting that Suzuki around now. He looks like he's beginning to enjoy himself, and instantly, look, he can gap Pitt. And really, it's beginning to look terrific at the front. So if you can hear me, Mr. Director, let's get back there. 16th Van den Gorberg, 17th Giovanni Pussai, 18th Ivan Clementi. Ahead of them, Bostrom still 11th, with Killy now just 2 seconds behind him in 12th place. And Gary McCoy, interestingly, is still only 0.3 of a second behind Frankie Killy. This is what we want to see. Nori Haga, no wonder he's getting away from James Tozer, because he's actually lapping faster than the leader. He's beginning to close the gap. Troy Corser, world champion-elect for Alstara Corona Suzuki. It would be it's a peach year for them to win it, really, because obviously Corona Extra Beer is the series sponsor for the first time.
The title sponsor of the series, yeah. Which is why we've got 2 40-foot long inflatable Corona beer bottles floating on string above the circuit, above the paddock.
This is Lanzi in 6th place, but he's being closed down now by Max Neukirchner and Karl Muggers. Neukirchner just moving away a bit from Muggers. While at the front, Norihaga really closing the gap now on the leader. This is Norihaga, and he's inched back into contention. What a remarkable ride by the 30-year-old Japanese star. He comes round to the finishing line to complete 12 laps, and here comes Norihaga. Haga gets side by side with Chris Vermeulen. Can he hang it on? Has he got the speed? He has. He gets the shakes. It doesn't slow him down. 2 minutes, 4.799. That was the fastest lap of the race by Norihaga. Fabulous ride by the man who never qualifies well, but show him a race, show him some opposition. And James Williams bouncing off the ceiling now, because this is the Yamaha Italia squad of Signor Conzonis. Oh, look at him, absolutely broadside. Haga is absolutely on it, and Chris Vermeulen is going to have to find a bit extra.
And we've got 4 laps left. We've got 3 laps at the end of this lap.
Fantastic. Nitro Nori is once again living up to his name. He's just suddenly exploded in the last 2 rounds of this championship after really a relatively mediocre first half to the season.
Well, his tyres obviously still all right on the last lap, enabling him to do a 2:04.79.
That's another of your theories, blown completely out of the water in a blaze of tyre smoke.
I never say I'm right all the time. I'm fallible.
It's just that you are right most of the time. That's what's so annoying. Now here's Chris. Who's the money on right now?
My heart says Haga. My head says Vermeulen.
Okay, let's see how it goes then. See which rules, your heart or your head. With James Tosland trying to keep both of them in sight, of course. Oh, this is fabulous racing. Well, Norihaga says that the craziest man on the... Chris Vermeulen says the craziest man on the racetrack is Noriyuki Haga, and the man who does the things that really make you think, how on earth did he do that, is Norihaga. One and the same. That's a pit wall. This is Haga versus Vermeulen once again. And it was in slow-mo once again. Here they are. We're back with the live action at last. Fantastic formation flying, but Haga, he bursts forward before he dips onto the brakes at that point.
Yeah, he just broke slightly later than Vermeulen, but Vermeulen was on a lot wider line, so had to brake earlier.
And Haga looks as if he's almost trying to break the toe. He's swinging about and trying to just change and chop his lines. Vermeulen trying to hang on to him.
2.5 laps left. Well, 2 3/4.
Chris Vermeulen, 5th in the British Super Sports Championship for Sanyo Honda in 2000, remember?
Yeah, that was under Mick Grant.
Oh! Absolutely scary. And that was on the right hand.
And he never even shut the throttle. If he had done, he'd been high-sided, for sure. I would have done.
These
two... It'd been shut.
And you'd have been very high in the air. And these two guys, they're like mirror images of one another, the way that they're riding these bikes to the limit. This is for the race win between Norihaga and Chris Vermeulen. Look at this. Oh!
He keeps the power on, that's why it doesn't snap back.
But you have to be very brave to do that.
Very brave and quite skillful, yeah, because you to shut it enough to stop it spinning right out, but you don't shut it enough to stop it gripping and throwing you off. It's a fine line, is that, Jack?
And they'll notice also that Tosland's been working hard to try and close the gap down as well on the leaders, and he's lapping every bit as quick as them. It's just that he's that few tantalising yards further back. And Troy Corser's also drifting spectacularly in a style that we don't often see from the 1996 world champion, that man, number 11, Troy Corser. He won his first world championship on the Promoto Ducati number 11 9 years ago. Is he heading for his second one on the Alstara Corona Suzuki number 11 in 2005? Certainly not this year, but certainly not this round, but it's going to happen soon. Meantime, the climax to this race, Chris Vermeulen, Norihaga, who's it to be? Into the final chicane.
2 laps to go.
2 laps to go from a score. Isn't it amazing how so many of these rip-rousing races feature Noriyuki Haga?
Yeah. He likes a good race, does he, lad?
He loves a good race, doesn't he? I reckon he might grin at the end of this one if he hangs on to this lead, but he's going to have to do a lot of work to do it. Listen to that rasping Ducati, and the fastest man on that lap was James Toseland, 2 minutes 6.1 against the 2 minutes 6.26 and 2.7 of his opposition.
The lads in the Yamamoto Italy garage cannot speak. They look really worried actually, but I would be.
But it's such a thrilling race, and once again we have 4 makes of machine in the first 4 places, and coincidentally the 4 guys who were at the front on the front row of the grid. Kageyama has had a big moment. He's slipped right back to 13th place. Lorenzo Lanzi 6th, Neukirchner 7th, Muggeridge in 8th, 9th for Norik Abe, 10th. Great ride by Ben Bostrom, and also Steve Martin's hit problems. He's back to 15th, and Gary McCoy has reached 11th place on the second of the FP1s, and he's back ahead of Frankie Killy. Well, this is such a topsy-turvy race. What is going on?
We need to know what's going to go on at the front. This is going to be some last lap, Jack.
Who's got something extra up their sleeves? It looks as if Norrie wants to lead it from the front at this stage. Does Chris have a secret overtaking manoeuvre that he's going to pull to astonish? Oh, he goes very tight there into that double apex right-hander.
This is a section where Chris Vermeulen's going to start winding it up.
Oh, and Norrie just winds himself out of his seat. We know that he's used to doing that, but he doesn't need to be doing it right now.
You got a right, another right, and then a big left.
And Vermeulen's through. So Hager's got to find some way of retaliating now. Can he do it? Oh, look how quick Vermeulen was surging into the final chicane.
He's gone wide though.
Whoa, look at that vast crowd. Carl Fogarty said this is the biggest crowd he's seen. Toshi Arakai there, waving his fist at his boy, number 41, Norrie Hager. Can Hager get around the outside? He's tried to. But Chris Vermeulen holds his line. He will not be budged. The Tenkate Honda versus the Yamaha Italia R1. Who's going to win this one? And their lap times have actually dropped fairly dramatically on that lap. They're really going for it as they go into the final lap now.
They're a quarter of the way around the final lap, and there's about 3 places now where Hager can have a go.
And he's going to need to be very close to do it.
That's one of them. This is another. He's got inside.
He's going to have to do one of his special can opening jobs and create a gap where there ain't one.
Now he's got a chance into the chicane at the end of this back straight, and then into the chicane at the end of the front straight.
But into the new chicane is not a move we've seen him pull before,
it's not.
James.
It's not.
He hasn't done that all day. Can he do it now? No, he's not close enough.
No.
Oh, what a race. Chris Vermeulen, we thought that he might just get away at the front, and for a while mid-race he did, but that amazing tigerish Nitro Norrie hauled him back.
It looks to me like Vermeulen's just got enough of a gap.
He's got the edge. He's somehow found the edge as the two of them backing and slewing their way into the left-hander. That's a debulge. And then into the double apex right, and then that amazing heart-stopping series of 150 mile an hour plus sweeps.
Just from this corner here, it just builds up and up and up and up. You've got one right-hander, another right-hander, and a left that are just faster and faster and faster and faster. That's the first one. The second one. And this is the left into the chicane, and it's just too much of a gap for Hager to do anything about it.
Even the Nitro Norrie can't do anything about this. If Chris Vermeulen keeps it clean and tidy and sweet into the final chicane, which he does, he's going to take a double here. And I don't know, Nitro Norrie gets alongside him, but there's a bike length in it as they cross the line. Fabulous race. James Toseland, brilliant race into 3rd place. 4th, Troy Corser, great 5th. And Vermeulen ahead of Hager and Toseland. We look forward to hearing what they have to say about that race. Corsa once again off the rostrum, but still in control of the championship. Andrew Pitt, another exceptional race from the former World Supersports champ ahead of Lanzi, Neukirchner, Carl Muggeridge. Norik Abe finally getting another decent result for Yamaha France, ahead of Ben Bostrom, Yukio Kageyama, Gary McCoy, Sebastian Jambert, Kili Busai, and the ill-fated Steve Martin, who once again had problems late in the race that